Okay, so today's painting, a landscape painting, watercolor, of course. Again, using this wet in wet technique. At the moment, all I'm doing is sort of staining the paper with some blue pigment, or at least parts of the paper. The upper half of the painting is pretty much already done. The sky is done. And then the blue marks across the middle is just a sort of an idea of a horizon line, which may or may not change during the painting. Other things I was doing was scratching the paper, and you'll see me later on probably flicking water and paint onto the paper as well. All of that just creates some texture, which is basically implied detail. And giving some implied detail, especially in the foreground, but not so much in the middle or background, helps to create a sense of depth in the painting. So colors, the blue was mostly ultramarine blue, and then this green that I'm putting on is phthalo green light. At least that's what Sennelier call it. Different brands, of course, will have slightly different colors, or they may have similar colors but actually give them very different names. This painting, the goal of this painting was to sort of evoke a feeling of summer or late summer. When I'm recording this, it's September here in Ireland, and autumn is starting to appear. The last couple of days have been quite warm, hot even. When I say hot, of course, it's all relative. In Ireland, it never gets that hot, but it's been quite warm. But it's also, I've noticed, autumn starting to appear. When you get autumn appearing in the countryside, you get heather starting to bloom with a sort of purple flower. And so some of the hillsides and things can start to look quite purple. This color I'm putting on at the moment is cadmium yellow. In the last video, I talked a little bit about Bob Ross, and I was looking up Bob Ross paintings. They tend to sell for around $10,000. I doubt that during his lifetime, especially in the early stages of his art career, he wouldn't have made £10,000 for a painting. You know, the price of artists' work sometimes increases after their death, but during their life they may not make that much money from painting. But I was thinking then, if I could afford to buy a painting, any painting, but only one, whose artwork would I buy? And it's quite difficult to answer that, but I can narrow it down. And I have to say that Bob Ross doesn't appear on that list. Sorry to all the Bob Ross fans. I'm a great fan of his teaching and his style of teaching. But his artwork itself, I never really enjoyed that much. Partly it's because I'm not a huge fan of oil paint. I prefer watercolor or pastel painting, or sketching even. But if I had to choose an artist, it would come down to maybe top three would be Monet, Toulouse-Lautrec, or Van Gogh. And it would be a very difficult choice between those three. Of course, to buy artwork by any of those three would probably require not tens of thousands of dollars, but closer to millions of dollars. So I can safely say that imagining buying one of those paintings is just a kind of thought experiment. Yeah, it's not going to happen in real life. Okay, so this painting is sort of coming towards the end now. As usual, I kept the palette quite simple. There's a lot of yellow in it, little touches of blue, and the sky has quite a bit of white. It suggests that sort of summery sky with the thin white clouds sort of floating against a blue sky. And then in the distance on that horizon line, I added in a bit of purple. So like I say, for me, I associate that with sort of early autumn. Okay, so this is the final painting, or a scan of the final painting. So I was happy enough with the results. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to subscribe, just click on the big red button below, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.